Now, if you've not heard the latest on this, the daily stylings of the Cowboys, every day there's something new. So 2024, if you believe, if you didn't see this, maybe you missed it, I'll give you the thumbnail recap here. I'm not going to give you the full Monty. I'll give you the thumbnail recap. So the way I have interpreted the story is that the drama is being raised up because 2024 will be Dak Prescott's final year with the star on his helmet. Yes, that is right. Big story coming out of the owners' meetings, or league meetings, rather, in Florida. And the story is that Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are at loggerheads, that there will not be a new contract for Dak Prescott. They have, I love the reporting, they have a, quote, mutual understanding. Okay. I've had that with bosses I've had in radio, too. They don't want to pay me. So they're like, we have an understanding. Well, I want more money. No, you suck. You're not getting any more money. So that is the story right now. And the reason that this is kind of a big deal, state-run NFL media, the NFL Network, telling us that this clears the path for Dak Prescott to become an unrestricted free agent. Oh, the drama! Woohoo! So line up for Dak Prescott there. He would be an unrestricted free agent. Obviously not this year. He's got another year on his contract, but in 2025. All right, so the reason why that is, we are told, is because Dallas, there's a clause that Dak's people put in there. The Cowboys cannot franchise tag Dak Prescott. So he'll play out the contract, and that's it. It's done at the end of the year. They can't franchise tag him. So let us discuss the question. The Cowboys letting Dakota Prescott play out his contract. Are you in or out on this? Are you in or out on this? So, listen, I've got Land O'Lakes, Saskatoon Berry Pie, and Stepping Stones. And we will combine all of these. I know they don't make sense, but they're going to make sense. I'll make them all make sense. All right, so first of all, to answer the question, are we in or out on the Cowboys letting Dak Prescott play out the season and then enter the market? Have you not been listening over the years? Hello, how many monologues have we done? This should have happened 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago. This should have happened before the pandemic. Like, what are the Cowboys been doing? We are in like Flynn. That's an old actor. All right, we hope that Jerry Jones, and I have no skin in the game on this, but we hope that Jerry Jones sticks to his guns and follows through on this, because I have a sneaking suspicion that he won't, that we're going to get a story between now and the start of the year. Well, the Cowboys have decided they want to keep Dak around, and they've reached a compromise. I see that in my crystal ball for the Cowboys. But that shouldn't happen, right? The proper way to handle this, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, if there's a grown-up in the room, and we don't know if there is, but if there is a grown-up in the room, Dakota should play out the year, and then that's it. And the way it would work, Dakota Prescott, how many times does he have to show you who he is before you believe who he is? He is like a stick of Land O'Lakes butter. And it's pretty good. You like the butter. It's solid butter, right? Land O'Lakes butter. Fine against the mid opponent, the bad opponent the Cowboys play. Play a lot of them. And then when he plays a better opponent, that butter melts. And we see it in the playoffs and big regular season games. Dak Prescott has been historically terrible in big games. And it's absurd that he has continued to be the Cowboy quarterback. It is historic. When I say historically terrible as Cowboy quarterback, check this out. Since 1980, that is almost 45 years ago. Amazing factoid. It's going to blow your mind. This factoid is going to blow your mind. So if you go back almost 45 years, since 1980, how many quarterbacks have started as long as Dak Prescott and not gotten their team to a Super Bowl? The answer is one. The answer is one. Ken Anderson of the Bengals back in the day, the only quarterback to be with his team as the starter for more consecutive seasons than Dakota Prescott before going to the Super Bowl for the first time. And that was his 10th season In 1981, I believe Dak Prescott, if I'm wrong, I might be wrong on this, I think he's going into his ninth season in a row as the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. So your position should be, let's not worry about Dak Prescott leaving. Let's not worry about that. And the other thing is Jerry Jones has an ace up his sleeve. He does. He's got, or something else up his sleeve. But I believe it's an ace. Maybe a king of diamonds. I don't know. But what he's got here is location. That's the key, all right? Dak loves playing for the Cowboys. Why wouldn't you? It's got all the perks. One of the great, in this massive world of professional sports, the multi-billion-dollar business, the Cowboys in terms of glamour, glitz and glamour, are at the top. And if you don't believe me, just ask their fans, the annoying Cowboy fans, who will remind you of that. But it's got all the perks, right? You don't enjoy as many fringe benefits playing for the Titans or the Saints. You don't. Now, if Dak Prescott played out the year, which should happen, and then entered the market, it's like, okay, we'll see what happens after that. But Dak Prescott, if you're the Cowboys, if he goes out there and doesn't play like a choking dog, doesn't need the Heimlich maneuver, you don't have to call 911 to get paramedics to resuscitate him in big games, and the Cowboys actually do something, which won't happen. But if they did, just play along, then Jerry Jones will pay him, right? He'll pay him. If he stops wilting under pressure, Jerry will cut him one of those big cartoon-sized checks, and that'll be that. All right, now, we pivot to the rules of the game. The rules of the game. The NFL, while you were not paying attention, completely overhauled the kickoff. Now, they got rid of the kickoff for all intents and purposes years ago. It's been irrelevant. It's been neutered. The kickoff has been neutered. One of the most exciting plays in sports. The anticipation, the kickoff, the blocking, sitting in the upper deck and seeing the blocking and seeing the path for the kick returner to take it to the end zone. Amazing to watch as a observer. So, of course, they got rid of that because players got hurt. And so now they're really gotten rid of it. The NFL completely saying sayonara to the kickoff. The owners voted to approve what they're calling the hybrid version of the kickoff rule. It passed 29-3. The only teams that said ixnay on the kickoff A were the Packers, the Raiders. I think the Raiders just vote no on everything. And then the 49ers. They were the ones that said no. So how do you process the NFL, this new XFL hybrid-style kickoff rule? So the first word I have for this is unnecessary. Right? Just get rid of it. You don't like it, just get rid of it. They think this is some kind of compromise. I watched the clips over and over again because I have no life, number one, and I was trying to understand. I don't watch the XFL. I watched the XFL back in the old days when the WWE was running it with Vince McMahon, who's now been sent out to pasture. But back then I didn't watch the XFL recently, so I was like, what the hell? What is this fugazi thing with this kickoff? So I watched it, and it's pretty complicated. Now, we'll get used to it at some point, right? We'll get used to it. But there's this weird static part of it that at the start of it, you can't move. The ball is kicked. You have to stay there. It's very odd. It appears to be a glitch. And the NFL, what they should have done is eaten some Saskatoon berry pie, Canada's finest, and copied the CFL. What the CFL has, just adopt the CFL 5-yard rule. There's a magical force field. There's a force field around you in the Canadian Football League, and it's almost as good as the poutine. No player can be within 5 yards of the returner when he catches the ball. So you get a 5-yard head start as the kick returner. If you enter the zone, the 5-yard zone, there's a 10-yard penalty that is handed out. It's simple. It's not gimmicky. It looks normal. But God forbid you do that. You can't give a break to the great Canadian people. How dare you? All right, now, last word here. Speaking of the kickoff, briefly, Lions coach Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell said that the unknowns are why a number of people are concerned about the kickoff. And even though only 3 teams voted against it, there were other teams that had concerns. And so the Lions coach said the unknowns of the kickoff rule have people, as he said, a little spooked. He used that. I'm kind of tying this all together, but a little spooked, right? And so he says he's excited about it. Dan Campbell says he's excited about it. So do you believe Dan Campbell that he's excited? So on this one, I do. I'm going to go yes on this. And the reason I'm going to go yes on this one is because Dan Campbell is the typical motivational meathead type coach. He's actually better than Robert Saleh, who's not even a meathead. He's just, I don't know, he's like Tony Robbins light. But Dan Campbell is looking to turn obstacles into stepping stones, right? That's the whole mindset. And it makes sense. Like if you're going into this, if you're an NFL coach and you just have your underlings, you don't actually do this because you're making the big money, but you have your underlings watch a bunch of film of the Houston Roughnecks and the Seattle Sea Dragons and the Vegas Vipers and all those other teams and see the ones that were good at the kickoff. There's got to be somebody in the XFL that was good. This isn't just copy what they were doing. And Campbell continues to be upbeat. He's got that infectious personality, optimistic persona, and all that.